Do you have it on your phone too?
Nope. Hey, live from the apocalypse, it is Dano, Free Music Empire, my associate Keith, who's been renamed K Diggy for our purposes here. Uh, we
Like it.
are we are fully remote from different locations using this Zoom technology. Uh,
Mhm.
how is the apocalypse treating you, Keith?
It's okay. It's all right, man. I'm still here, so can't complain.
It's a weird situation because it's not something we can ask our parents how to deal with.
They're asking us how to deal with it, actually,
Right?
you know?
Yeah, different. So, but we wanted to talk about music
Hmm.
stuff that's happening now.
Yeah.
And I guess I wanted to start with uh, the passing of Bill Withers and how you were, how that was resonating with people. I've seen a lot of artists posting really good stuff about it.
I mean, for me, I went back into his discography again. And I still haven't, it recall, because I remember us talking about Bill Withers a couple of years ago, and you put me on to his Carnegie Hall performance.
Oh, the live album, yes.
The live album, yeah, yeah. So I think tonight I'm probably gonna go back to that, listen to that. But I mean, he was just, I mean, really inspiring guy. You know what I mean? Particularly because the first thing I did was I went on to his wiki,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just reading about his backstory and about how I didn't realize like he came into the game so late. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That was I was telling my son a little bit about that yesterday. That he was like the guy playing on other people's records for a
Hmm.
while and writing stuff with them and just kind of a background dude. And then I think one of the guys from the Booker T and the MGs uh, pulled him aside and was like, "Dude, you should just do this," you know. Um, and that guy played an instrumental part in "Just as I Am," his debut album.
Yeah.
Um, but it was
And I mean, yeah, I was gonna say everything. I mean, everything was by his terms. So he came in late. He dropped. I'm just to say he dropped. He released what, maybe 2 or 3 albums, and then once he was done with it, once he felt like he had, once he felt like he had enough of the industry or the business, he stepped away.
yeah,
So, and
yeah.
I mean, you don't see musical, not even like discographies, but musical careers. You don't quite see musical careers like that where people take advantage of their agency and really live based on their principles. You know?
On their own terms, yeah. I
Yep.
mean, it's different generation of people, man. It's like kind of like Tom Petty's stuff. If you watch that documentary with that Netflix has, I think, where he just kind of he did what he wanted to do, and he was always fighting with executives to be able to do what he wanted to do.
That's on Netflix. I gotta check
Yeah,
that out then.
it's like 3 hours long or something, but
Oh,
it's worth it.
okay.
It's great. There's a reason like Wildflowers is such a great album because Rick Rubin was just like, do what you want, man. The magic ingredient. Do what you want. And he was like, good. Thank you. I don't have to fight anybody. But yeah, Bill Withers didn't want to fight anybody. And as you know, like the 80s, there was a rough point in the 80s where the drum machines weren't good in the early 80s. But everyone was using drum machines. There was pressure to use this technology. I guess the equivalent would be those movies where they were trying to use special effects, but they were early special effects, and it looks awful, right? It's like that, but with the drum machines. And so it was really hard on artists, and some of them like held out for a while, like Bruce Springsteen and stuff. But there was a lot of pressure for people to really transition into this cheesy mechanical stuff that didn't suit him at all.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
So I
Wow.
have to imagine that played a big part in in him just after like what is it, Menagerie or something, just being like, whatever. I'm gonna go.
Hmm.
So I appreciate him. I appreciate his career. There was a picture Kiwanuka posted of him, Michael Kiwanuka hanging out with Bill Withers and like Brittany Howard, and
Wow.
just all of them just hanging out a while ago. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah,
Wow.
he was still around.
I mean, I would say those two are probably the closest to his spiritual grandchildren or great grandchildren that we have right now in the game, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, who was the first person to say that? Who was name is escaping me, but Jay-Z's engineer, the guy who put him onto Kingdom Come?
Guru?
Yes. Young Guru was years ago. He's a great Twitter follow, by the way. He said that Kiwanuka is the modern day Bill Withers, and I think he's as close as you're gonna get.
Yep.
But yeah, did you get a chance to look at the PartyNextDoor unveiling thing?
What was the unveiling?
The article that I posted.
Oh, the article, yes.
Using fancy terms for myself. But so yeah, I've been listening to Party Mobile a lot. It's a really interesting album. I think he got a really bad score on Pitchfork, like a 4.9 or something.
You know what? It didn't, like, I heard the album and it didn't stick with me because I've been hearing Drake do that for the past 2 or 3 years now.
So you can hear, and it is the album I think where you can most hear dark R&B Drake.
Yep.
In everything that's going on.
So it's not unique to me. Like, I've been desensitized to it. I'm not saying that Party obviously is talented, yes.
Mm.
Which is why he we'll say writes for Drake. But we're desensitized to it. Like, there's nothing, I just don't feel anything about it.
And I made the point, I think, at the end of the article that Party shouldn't be working with this guy. That like, if Party was on his own, was by himself,
right,
he'd be a bigger deal.
Absolutely.
And I'm starting to wonder, is it true on the other side as well? Is Party a little bit of a crutch for Drake?
In what way?
In the sense that he fills in so many gaps in terms of Drake wanting to do both sides, right? Wanting to do the rap side and wanting to do the R&B side. And so when he does the rapping, and he does that himself, and then he switches up and he's like, pull Party in, we're going to do a song, and it'll be that dark R&B flavor. Whereas if he didn't have that backup plan ready, what would his stuff be like?
I mean, it's all depends on who he hangs out with, because like you said in the article, I believe you referenced it, he did the same thing with Weeknd.
Yep.
Like the same, before PartyNextDoor, it was Weeknd.
Right.
I don't want to say he's like a vampire of sound, but he basically, Drake is he's good at finding the essence of what you do and mimicking, copying that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you believe in Drake's talent, if you are somebody who believes in Drake's talent,
mm-hmm.
then I would think you have to see this relationship as not very beneficial, right? Because it's someone who is doing Drake's work for him, right, while Drake has the full capability to do his own work.
You know, That's a valid point because
Don't you want to hear more of Drake and less of other
yes,
people?
because that is true. Like there has been a significant shift in Drake's tone over the past couple of years.
Right.
Like if we listen to, you know, So Far Gone, it's obvious that the artist that was performing on So Far Gone is different from the artist that we have now.
Yeah.
It's not even like the same essence. I don't even mean like, I mean like it's not even the same essence, not even like the same voice. At least with like, I'll compare him to Kanye. At least with Kanye, I mean, even if Kanye has like his, we'll call them writers, there's still the essence of Kanye in how he delivers like those lines. Like I can still hear Kanye in them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear the Drake that I heard So Far Gone, Take Care, or even what was that album? Not If You're Reading This Is Too Late. Well, If You're Reading This Is Too Late in a little bit, but what was his debut? Thank Me Later. Yeah.
Yep.
That Drake is not the same Drake that we have now.
And that's the thing. I was just saying, I really like Thank Me Later, actually, because it is him doing it. It's him doing it, and it's him being like, look, I'm going to make this work with Alicia Keys or with all these people. And, you know, I like to see people perform without a net, right? And he's got a net. And the thing about Kanye, I don't want to let Kanye skate fat out here without some vampire criticism. Listen to Sahai the Prince, and you've got modern Kanye. Sahai the Prince is the Kanye jokes that you like. So it's just the way it is. He's good. He's very good at them. For what it's worth, you know.
It's funny. Have you heard the Ant Clemens?
No.
So Ant Clemens is like he released it's either EP or an debut album I think it was a couple months ago. And Ant Clemens is the guy, like he wrote a lot of the Ye stuff, like the album Ye. Mm-hmm. And then he did a lot of stuff on this new album, God is King.
Oh, cool.
Like if you listen to that album, if you listen to Ant Clemens' debut album, you can basically hear. I mean, it's like it's blatantly obvious that Kanye just copy and pasted him.
Yeah. I mean, it's and that's the thing is Kanye probably needs to do that. Like he probably doesn't. I mean, his great MC stuff is in question in term more than Drake, I would say, because Kanye was always one of the best producers who ever lived. Period.
Absolutely.
So, if you're talking about access to ghostwriters, he always had access to ghostwriters because he could always give you your best beat.
Yeah.
He could always say, "Help me out, man, and I'll hook you up with some of the best beats you've ever heard," and you'd make that deal.
Yep.
Up, and he was on Degrassi. He didn't have that deal. He didn't have that deal. So Drake has a natural skill set that Kanye just doesn't have, and vice versa, right? Drake can't make these beats, so it's a trade-off. But in the sense of writing and who's doing the work, I don't know that the relationship is beneficiary to Drake either. And like we said, Party's slated to sell 50 to 55K in his first week, the same way he's done before.
I mean, it's benefit, and I think Drake has shifted. I do question his artistic. I don't even want to say integrity, maybe ambition, his ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Drake doesn't, to me, he doesn't have any artistic ambition. He has a lot of business and musical ambition. Like, he wants to put up numbers.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to be in that class of, I mean, we're talking about Elvis. He wants to be compared to Elvis,
Right.
the Beatles, Madonna. So he's musically ambitious, but I'm sorry, he's musically ambitious in that way. Like, he wants
With
to
his
put up
legacy.
numbers.
Yep.
With his legacy, yes. He's focused a lot on his legacy, but he's not musically ambitious, as in he's not trying to, what's the word I want to use?
Well, I think he did a little exploring on the other album, which is what I want to say. His last album was pretty good. It was, because when you get Nice for What, Nonstop, God's Plan, these are interesting songs that went different directions. There were the seeds of an album in that album. It's just, there was some, what was this? It's a Happy Birthday song and just some real nonsense thrown in the mix. But if he cuts that album down, it's a good album.
I don't absolutely. I mean, Drake will always have great ideas, and you can't take away, he can execute. Like, he has an idea and he can execute it, but I don't know, it irks me. Like, he knows he's so manipulative. That's what it is to me. Like, I don't trust him, his intentions. I think he's insincere, because he knows, I mean, him and his team, he's got one of the best teams in the industry.
No question.
They know exactly what they're doing. They know that if they do this, this is going to happen. Okay, if we do this, this is going to happen. Like, it feels like they have all the shit planned out to the T. Yeah,
I mean, but I think what Drake hasn't shut off yet, that he needs to shut off, he has that Don Draper brain that I've talked about before, right?
Okay.
He's the artist and the businessman at the same time. He knows how to sell himself, whether it's like the waitress at Peach Street, or like dropping these little things, this little, like, man, the internet's going to go nuts on this one. They're going to try and find this person. Yeah. But we're like, here's another clue about my relationship with Nicki, or, like, whatever. He has that branding brain in him.
Yeah.
But it's overworking it at this point, because, like, as an example, there became a place for Jay. I'm going to say Life and Times of Sean Carter Volume 2.
Okay.
Where Jay decided there's really nobody around that I need to check or worry about. I'm pace setting.
Okay.
These guys are following me.
Right.
And so I'm going to make my decisions. I'm going to be creative, and these people are going to follow me. I'm not worried about any of these people. And that's what he needs to do. That's why God's Plan is the best thing on that album. He said in the Rap Radar interview that he didn't think that was going to be much. He didn't think God's Plan was
it was just a throwaway.
Because the beat is not necessarily a take over the radio beat. It is not big screen, right? It feels like a mid-tempo album cut.
Right.
But he was able to, like you said, visualize his ideas and actuate them to the point where it grew. The story grew, right? And then by the time you get to The Only One I Love Is My Bed and My Mom, that people are pumping their fists, right? People are pumping their fists. But the story develops, so I think he needs to free himself of a lot of stuff and just pace set if he wants to pace set.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, but when you have guys like PartyNextDoor, it's too easy for Drake.
Right.
Like, did you hear the, was it Tootsie Slide?
No.
Oh shit.
I can't catch up with every Lucy. I can't do it.
Well, that'll be the #1 song in the that's what I'm saying. Like, So Tootsie Slide, he released it on Thursday. Basically, it's just a video where they're just following him around his crib while he's in quarantine. And he came up with a little dance, like literally took him 2 minutes to create this dance. Made a song about it, released it. It'll be the number one song in the country by next week, if it's not already. And that's just the power that it's too easy for him to do it.
Right.
You know what I
mean? So he's got to do it for a different reason, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be that easy, like he's got to keep the target in the right place, right?
Yeah.
And that is stay legacy focused, right? I mean, he's friends with LeBron. LeBron is always legacy focused. And that's what this has to be. So you can give away the Tootsie Slide, but it better not be on your album, dude. I don't want that track 6 on your next album. Get out of here. It's weird, and I think the article is all about this strange mid place that I'm in, where like I don't hate Drake. I enjoy the effect that he's had on the industry and how he has changed the way other artists, male artists, can talk about themselves emotionally, can directly talk to female fan bases. But no, I don't trust him, and I don't trust his intentions, and I don't trust his decision making all the time. And that should be okay. But a lot of times it's not. People give it in both directions.
100% agree.
So, and the other topic, this is an interesting topic I just stumbled upon. I was looking at some of the numbers and how crazy the numbers are out there. I re-listened to the Doja Cat album today, and I'm much more excited about it.
I haven't heard the album. It's interesting with Doja Cat. Like she's, like I heard her first, the single her breakthrough single, and that kind of piqued my interest. I was like, oh, who's this? But I didn't pay that much mind to it. And then I heard the Say So song.
Yeah. And
I didn't know who it was. Like I heard that song for like 2 months, and I was like, wow, I really like this song. I didn't put together that was her.
Right.
Until like, I guess she's big on TikTok now because everyone's doing the dance, blah, blah, blah. But she's like one of those artists that's kind of like snuck up on a lot of people. Like I mean, I can't front everything that I've heard from her I've actually liked, so.
And it's different, man. She's just got a totally different skill set. That's one of the reasons that I really enjoyed looking at these 3 female artists that are at the top of the rap charts, right? Nicki, Yikes, number 1. It was 100,000 units sold in 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, and she's got another song with Karol G. I think it's Tusa or something that's been killing the charts. So she's always on the move. Megan Thee Stallion, the BITCH, over 500,000. And I think Savage is at 300K.
Savage.
Yep. And because people are doing the Savage dance, and there's like she's got a whole poster
the
dance
TikTok. The TikTok.
Yeah. So that's cool. Doja Cat has a completely different skill set in the sense that you should listen to Bite if you could find Bite by Doja Cat. That is like a calypso song. It is so weird. She's got really weird melodies, a lot of interesting like Caribbean kind of stuff that she can do. But when she sings, when she really hits her singing, it's like Brandy. But when she hits her flow, it's like Kendrick. It's a really interesting combination.
Yeah.
That is
like I didn't even realize on the first song. I didn't even realize some of it, or which one am I thinking? Some of the times, like I didn't even realize she was singing and rapping as well.
Right. Yeah, and it just sounds like everything Doja Cat says sounds like a pop song.
Yeah.
that you're gonna love.
Yeah.
So that's great, and it's totally different than Megan, who's like just was born to rap. You know, she's just a rapper's rapper in my mind. Like that is someone who's going to be rapping for the next 20 years. And
I mean, I re-listened to Sugar this week. Sugar.
It's fantastic.
And I mean the verse. I mean, I was impressed by the versatility. Like you listen to Savage, the Captain Hook song, which okay, all right.
That's an awesome concept. I'm just saying, conceptually, I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah, Captain Hook, and then it goes to Hit My Phone,
Oof.
and then
And
to
that's
BITC.
a West Coast song. That is a West Coast beat and a West Coast artist in Kalani featuring, and she does her thing. I mean,
and then BITC, like the versatility, like she can, it legitimized, like this is, she has the potential to be like that superstar that, because you can put her on anything.
And this is all post Nicki, right? Nicki did open the door for this. There's no way around it. These people all grew up on Nicki and really enjoy Nicki. And a lot of the female artists that I've been really into, the Kaylee 47, clearly people who are happy about and inspired by Nicki in some manner, right? As a piece of the composition that helped them get where they got.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I know Nicki's followers definitely toot that horn and let people know that she gets that credit, but I think it should be out in the mainstream a little more. That she's just had this really positive effect, and I'm really happy that she has a good relationship with these newer artists.
I think Nicki needs to let go of looking for the recognition. I think I think hopefully, her next album, Nicki's next album, should be coming relatively soon. What was her last album? Queen? Was Queen the last album?
Yeah. Yep.
Queen, there was just too much. She invested too much energy towards the beef that she was having with Cardi at the time.
Yeah.
And you could hear it.
Which is a waste of time. This is waste of time.
She's past that. Like, Nicki, everyone knows like the impact that you've had. You know what I mean? So you don't need the recognition. You don't need to actively seek that recognition.
And in the moment, nobody gets their recognition. Very few, right? It's
exactly.
Like Charles Dickens and Jay-Z. And very few people during their lifetime get the recognition. But later on, you get to look at people and go, wow, like this is a really important person who did really important things. And as time moves on, like when Pink Friday dropped, people were still like, hey, who is this? Right? And now people are on there being like, Queen Nicki. So it's already changed, and it's going to keep changing her way. She was ahead of the game. Like, there's no way around it. She was doing dirty techno beats, mixing them with hip hop when no one was doing that. She had all these. She was balancing pop and hardcore hip hop when barely anyone was attempting that.
And I think she should. It's interesting because we like to compare music to sports. You know what I mean? And Nicki Minaj is the LeBron James of I guess we could say of female rap. You know what I mean? Like, I think right now there's a point where LeBron, he was getting a lot of flack. You know what I mean? Like, people, what I'll say is not. How do I explain? There was a point where not a lot of people liked per se.
Sure.
But they respected his game.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's the similarity I think is there was a point in time where everybody wanted Nicki to do something else. Some people wanted her to go hardcore rap. Some people wanted her to go hardcore pop. everybody had a direction they wanted her to be,
Yeah.
and everybody wanted to tell her what to do with her career.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
Same thing
Very
with
good.
LeBron. You know, where people were like, "You need to go into the post more, right? You need to
Yeah.
back him up more." And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'll get there." You know, like um, is so. I
Point.
think that's that similarity, which I'm fine with as long as Missy gets to be Magic Johnson. Made everybody better. So, but yeah, no, it's when I was growing up, female MCs had to be attached to crews in some way, right?
Right.
Like Diamond and Crime Mob or whatever, or Little Kim in Bad Boy Family. Like you had to have a cosign, right? You had to have
Right.
this guy
Foxy
come
and
in and
Jay-Z. Yeah.
cosign you, right? In order for you to be legit. Um, and it was very hard otherwise, right?
Hmm.
Um, and even people who didn't need that cosign, like um, Rod Digga shouldn't have needed Busta Rhymes cosign. She was already
Right.
incredible right before
Right.
that, like when she was in the Outsiders. But that's the way it is. That's the way it was at that point, right? You know,
Hmm.
had to walk you through the door. And all these three women, which is one of the wanted to talk about it, they don't really have that cosign. Like, Doja Cat didn't have a huge cosign.
Well, I mean, Nicki doesn't need that. She doesn't use that. She doesn't lean on that cosign anymore. You're right.
And
She's grown past that.
Megan just popped out of nowhere and did Megan.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
She hasn't worried about it. So there's a lot of people we're seeing chart. They're not charting because they're part of someone's wave. It's their wave.
No, I agree. I agree 100% with that. Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, because the female MC used to be just viewed as a novelty. Like, you know, when you had Raw Digger, she was just a novelty to the Flip Mode squad. Like, okay, you know, their squad, okay, they gotta have their token female MC. Who's it
It
gonna
was
be? Like,
weird because there were some people who were absolutely diehard about it though. Like amidst that, like who was the ones that I was thinking of? Mia X from No Limit,
okay,
right?
yep,
So like some people would be like, yeah, Mia X, the lady of the crew, but then there'd be people you'd meet who were just like hardcore Mia X people. Like I remember like I was hardcore into Death Row Records growing up, right? And I was
okay,
in science class. Had the Discman out. We're playing it, right? And we got a substitute that day. Got a substitute that day. The substitute walks up and he starts rapping Lady of Rage lyrics to us.
wow,
Yep. I mean, looks like the lead singer of Weezer. Like he's not. So he's just like hardcore Lady of Rage fan, right? And like respect, man, that's awesome, you know. And like that, he should have been. She was amazing, and so people viewed them as a novelty, but not because they didn't think they were talented, but because they were just shitty to women. They didn't take women seriously. Um, but being in a
well,
crew can obscure you, right? Being in a crew can put you in the back seat. You know,
absolutely, yeah. I
and
mean,
these people are just in their own lane, so it's a better place to be.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of the female empowerment. It's been really. And I mean, obviously we have like the top tier, the Cardis, the Megs, the Nickis, but I mean, there's a lot of under the radar, underground
I
female
mean,
MCs as well.
Rhapsody,
That
you know,
yeah,
and that's not under the radar, but like there's levels
right,
to it, right? And there's different flavors, and you
yep,
can get whatever you want, man. It's out there.
yep.
Snow the product is out there.
No name is
Yeah,
out there
yeah,
too. Raps, yeah,
yeah.
and these are got like Rhapsody, particularly. I put her bar to bar with any male or female MC. She can be on track with anyone and hold her own.
And that's my hypothesis. And I think we're 5 years away from having to even use the distinction, right? I think in 5 years, you won't be saying Rhapsody can go bar to bar with any guy. You'll be saying Rhapsody's one of the best MCs in the world, period, right? We're 5 years from just not having to say it anymore.
Right.
Um,
And that's what I like about Meg. Meg doesn't, and we've talked about this. Meg doesn't focus on being a female MC. You know what I mean? She is focused on pimping these men out here. So more power to her.
She doesn't care what people think. Just a huge advantage. Huge advantage.
Right. And she doesn't have to carry that weight of, oh, I got to be a female MC and whatever the standards that people think that female MCs should do.
Right.
She doesn't carry that weight. She's just free to rap about whatever she wants to. And that's why she's connected.
Part of it, she doesn't have to carry that weight because of Nicki, right? Because there's so many people out there who hot taked on Nicki and were really mad at her and then realized she was really talented.
Yeah.
And had to walk it back.
Yeah.
And it's the way it is, man. But I think there's a larger conversation to be had, right? Because I've got friends who are hitting me up like, man, all I listen to is like female artists now. Like, and I'm not trying to. Like, it's, Margaret Glassy, Waxahachie, Janae Aiko, boom, boom, boom. Just like in rock has been dominated by, female artists for a long time, man.
I've had that same thought. Yeah.
Like just all these people, Dum Dum Girls, just on and on and on.
I had that same exact thought like a couple of weeks ago. Like, I just think females in general are just, at this point right now, they're just making, they're just making more interesting. It's more interesting to me. Like when I hear Rhapsody, when I heard Rhapsody's last album, that was just more interesting to me than anything that rap-wise that I had heard that year.
Right.
Because there's just so much, like, there's so much, and I don't know what it is. Like, there's just so much topic for her to explore. Like, there's no limits on to where she can.
Yeah, and part of me wonders if this is like somewhat cultural in terms of the culture of expectations around a male MC.
Mm-hmm.
That like basically if you go to the front page of DatPiff, you're gonna scroll down shirtless dudes with money to their ear. If you don't do that, you're weird.
Yeah.
You're weird.
Or soft. You're soft.
Right?
You're soft. You're soft.
You're weird. You're not. And like when you lose that freedom, you lose something, right? You lose the ability to circulate in a manner that surprises your audience.
Hmm.
You need to be able to surprise your audience. And No Name on the last album especially was able to surprise us with her production choices, with her boldness, with getting more personal than before. She's got stuff she can explore, right?
Right.
Whereas with some of these dudes where it's like, I got a Sunny Digital beat and I got the money to my ear. You're like, that's fine, man, but that's everybody you know.
Yep.
Man. Like,
and I mean, there's some, like, it's gotten to the point where there's a lot of homogeneousness.
But you finished.
yeah, homogeneousness around. Like,
leave that hanging.
I can't. I had to get the word out. Like, I can't. A lot of these rappers, like, I can't tell the difference between them.
Yeah, you're like, that's gonna complain, and part of that is auto tune and what it does to your voice, right?
Yeah.
And people, it's not you can't blame the auto tune. You blame the people lazily using it, right? Like, if you sound like everybody else, then yeah, you sound like everybody else, and that's a weird choice you made.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you have to figure out a way to be interesting and figure out a way to be unique, and there's just not enough people with that currency state of mind.
Absolutely, 100%. And I felt like Drake used to be, circling back to Drake as it always goes. He used to be like one of those people who had like a unique voice, but now that you said when he has other people write for him, like he doesn't really surprise. I mean, what was the last thing Drake did that really like surprised you?
I mean, I think there are singles that surprise, but then they don't become the album, right? Like I wanted the whole album to be Nice for What.
Ooh,
I wanted a New Orleans bounce Drake album. I wanted him to go full in and big freed you on there and just like grab a bunch of, grab Juvie. He's around and really do it, man. But he didn't. He just kind of gave you a sampler plate. But even guys, it's not necessarily all about original content and going completely different ways, because if you look at some of the best people in the world right now, lyrically, a lot of them are hardcore rappers, right?
Oh, with Griselda? We're talking about Griselda?
We're talking about Freddie Gibbs.
Yeah.
Talking about Pusha T. Talking about Benny the Butcher. It's not like these guys are shocking you with their content every time. It's that because they approach this stuff like art, every piece is a unique piece. That's why Freddie's album covers are the best, right? Because go ahead and Google image Freddie Gibbs album covers. They rule. They're fantastic. And he's just really good at it, man. He's really good at understanding that this project is different from the last project. And it's got to be different. And the sounds will be different. The choruses will be a little different. And my content's going to be unique within what I do. And Push, the same way. Push is the same way. And Griselda has been great at that.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking over, man.
You have to know, that's the problem with like the Gucci Mane model, is that you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it, and you lose track of this piece versus the last piece.
Yeah. But then again, I and sometimes I think like we have more reverence as listeners. We have more reverence for the music business and the artistry than some of the rappers do. Like I feel like for some of the rappers, it is a job. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They're not going out necessarily. Not that they don't care about art, but everything is a business decision for them. Like, I'm in this industry to make money.
I'll tell you. And the case study in this is Jeezy, right?
Okay.
The art beats the money eventually. Fully does. The art beats the money. Jeezy came in there for the money. And if you listen to Trap or Die, he was absolutely saying, look, these rappers are a joke. I don't care about being a great rapper. I'm hustling. I'm putting money on the table, right?
Right.
And he was making anthems for people putting money on the table.
Right.
Over time, because he got money, he achieved that. Money achieved. Snowman T-shirts, right. Good to go. Good to go. He's a wealthy dude. But if you listen to there's a Jeezy song called Holy Ghost.
Okay.
And he was giving an interview. It was like one of my favorite interviews. He said he was pulling their Holy Ghost. He was in this like limousine or Lambo or something, just this elaborate car. And he was looking out it, and he realized that just seeing him in that car was inspiring these kids. And I think he pulled over and he spoke to some of them, and they told him that his music was getting them through everything and all that stuff. And it put the battery in his back, and he made some of the best albums of his career. I think he's made some of his best albums after people stopped paying full attention to him. I love a lot of his stuff. his later stuff especially, and because he's focusing on his legacy, he's focusing on his craft, because he already has the money.
Right.
That's the thing. Once you already have the money, you're sitting around just doing this job. You might as well get better at it. If you're somebody who achieves at your goals, and you've achieved the money goal, and you're getting older, you might as well actually do the art really well. You see a lot of rappers come in as bad rappers and become great rappers.
Rick Ross, yeah.
Determination. You know, Nipsey, I when he started, I thought he sounded like MC8. Like he sounded like kind of a generic hardcore rapper. But Nipsey was somebody who never stopped improving himself, ever. Every breath he took, he was doing something smart and creative with all of his faculties.
Right.
And so you buy his last album was his best album. And before that, his last album before that was his best album. He was always like that. And that's how Freddie Gibbs is, and that's how a lot of these guys are, man. Because they've been in there long enough. That's Big Crit, right? Like, there's so many people out there who've been in it by themselves, like doing it and succeeding. And eventually the art is everything, bro. It's everything. It's the only thing there with you when everyone else is gone. When the label hates you, when the fans are out on you, you still have your pen.
I mean, let me ask you, what did you think about Jay-Z on the Jay Electronica album?
Well, I thought he was better than Jay Electronica on that album.
Yeah.
And honestly, I haven't been able to come back to it because of that. It's weird. It's awkward. It's like, it would be like if I had a birthday party and you came to my birthday party and you were the life of my birthday party. And I was just kidding. I just feel bad. We've been waiting for years for Jay Electronica. And I'm like, this dude, could you just have done 3? Could you just have given him 2? Like, let him leave. But by killing him, that was Jay's biggest compliment, right? That was Jay's biggest kiss on the forehead. It was like, look, I wasn't even this good with Beyonce. But you, sure, I'll bring it to you. And boy did he. Boy did he.
Facts.
Yeah, man. It's weird, man. What last thing I'll say is, like, I would love to meet Jay-Z because I feel like we could just chop it up. Like, we're old and of the same era. Like, there was one year where Jay-Z said his favorite album that year was an album that Cool G Rap made with his family. Cool G Rap made the album with his wife and his kid. They were all rapping rap together. And it was the deepest cut I could think of. I was like, no one's talking about this album, dude. Jay's playlist is serious.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of it's on mine too. But it's interesting. So, but yeah, and I'm excited to listen to the Yves Tumor. This guy YVES.
YVES.
Yves Tumor, and this thing sounds like a TV on the radio album. I love TV on the radio, so I'm into it.
Okay.
Yep, but there's a lot of good stuff out there. We'll keep into it, keep tuned in, and see how this
Absolutely, man.
out. But I'm
absolutely.
I'm going to end the recording, and then
we'll
be meeting shortly after, and we'll see if this shit turns out at all. Hey, 20 seconds with your hands, people. in the comments to this video, you tell me what the proper distribution of soaping hands to washing hands is within the 20-second window. 20 seconds of washing the hands. How much is soap? How much is water? My son is splitting it 10 and 10. He's 6, but I think that he's got something going there. But I don't know what to do. I'm doing it different every time. It's not how Mystery Doug says to do it. But tell me in the comments, people. And have a good night.